My mom's Vietnamese pho shop is the neighborhood canteen. Her broth is a secret simmered for 12 hours. I secretly signed up for a fast-track cooking class, wanting to upgrade her menu with molecular gastronomy. But her regulars frowned at my foams and liquid nitrogen. What is this cloud in my bowl? Worse, a snarky food blogger gave us the lowest score ever. Tradition is dead. After a week of Cold War, I found her in the kitchen late at night, clumsily drizzling her secret sweet, spicy fish sauce over my molecular mango caviar. The next day, we launched a tradition and innovation combo pho, and that critical blogger came running back. Phone live, streaming this time. The rich aroma that flowed through my Nguyen's veins like background music was a potent blend of fresh herbs, the deep, comforting scent of piping, hot beef bone broth, and the uniquely salty, sweet, faintly pungent tang of nuoc mam. It saturated Saigon taste, especially now at the peak of the lunch rush. The small space was packed, buzzing with conversation, thick with steam. Fans whirred uselessly against the humid, sticky air. Her mother, Lynn, spun like a precision top in the cramped quarters, taking orders, ringing up checks, swiftly blanching rice noodles, arranging thin slices of raw beef, piling high mountains of bean sprouts and herbs, and finally ladling the soul of the place. That simmered, for half, day broth. Her movements were fluid, efficient, radiating decades, honed, unquestionable authority. My Table 3 needs another special beef pho. Meat well done. Lynn's voice cut through the din, its command absolute. Coming, Mai called back, deftly picking up a freshly assembled bowl. The heat of the porcelain seared her fingertips, the familiar fragrance enveloped her. She watched the sweat dampen the silver strands at her mother's temples, the fine lines etched by toil at the corners of her eyes. That restless thought bubbled up again. It's time for a change. Change began with an app hidden deep on her phone. The schedule for the city's trendiest Future Kitchen, Molecular Gastronomy Crash Course. After grueling days in the shop, she'd retreat to her rented studio apartment, following online tutorials, fiddling with a second-hand liquid nitrogen doer, siphon bottles, and various gelling powders. She transformed the essence of her mother's signature broth herbs into vibrant green foams. She slow-cooked the rich marrow fat from the bones into velvety, gelatinous PTS. She even dreamed up turning seasonal mango into translucent popping caviar pearls. She envisioned weaving these cool elements into the humble bowl of pho, propelling Saigon taste onto food magazines, attracting younger crowds, and giving her mother some well-deserved rest. The opportunity landed on a relatively slow Tuesday afternoon. Lynn, plagued by years of joint pain, had reluctantly agreed to see a physical therapist, leaving Mai and a part-time student in charge. The lunch rush was a memory. Only 2 or 3 tables of regulars remained. Mai's heart hammered. A bold plan crystallized. Uncle Trung, how about trying our new Saigon Cloud special today? On the house, for your feedback. Mai offered her most convincing smile to the elderly postman, their most loyal customer, as she presented a bowl that looked extraordinary. Over a clear broth floated a large, snowy puff of herb foam, like a cloud obscuring the noodles and meat beneath. Beside it sat dollops of bright orange mango caviar, and a small cube of amber-colored bone marrow jelly. Uncle Trung pushed his glasses up his nose, his roomy eyes filled with confusion, like he was staring at alien technology. My child, this cloud thing? Where's my pho? Did the cloud eat it? He prodded the foam cautiously with his chopsticks. It collapsed messily, revealing the normal noodles and beef underneath, making the sight even more unsettling. A young couple, bank employees and regular lunch patrons, glanced over curiously. Wow, looks super fancy like art gallery food, the girl whispered. Her boyfriend frowned, blunt as ever. All flash, no substance. I just want a proper hot bowl of pho. Is that foam even edible? Looks like dish soap. Mai's smile faltered. She pushed on. It's molecular gastronomy, Uncle Trung. The foam is herb-flavored, melts instantly. The caviar is mango, really refreshing. Try it, the flavors are layered. Uncle Trung reluctantly scooped up a few noodles coated with foam remnants. He chewed slowly, his brow furrowing into deep grooves. TSK. Strange. Smells nice, but doesn't feel right. He set his chopsticks down, shaking his head. Child, where's your mother's honest bowl of pho? Bring me that instead. This cloud is too much for an old man. His tone held no anger, only bewilderment and discomfort at the forced alteration of his familiar comfort. The part-time student shot Mai a sympathetic look and silently headed to the back kitchen to boil fresh noodles. Mai stood holding the rejected cloud, her fingertips icy. Her carefully crafted innovation had proved as fragile as the vanishing foam against the bedrock of real taste and habit. Worse was yet to come. Days later, a notoriously scathing and influential local food blogger, The Picky Palate, dropped a bombshell post. The headline screamed, "Tradition is dead. The fall of Saigon taste, a foam-induced disaster." The featured image was a close-up of Mai's Saigon cloud, adorned with a photoshopped crying one-star emoji. The review was pure venom. Walking into this institution, steeped in neighborhood memories, I craved that soul-warming beef bone broth pho. Instead, what did I find? A see-fee prop bowl floating cheap dish, soap bubbles, adorned with suspicious orange eggs, and a pointless blob of greasy jelly? Mrs. Lin's soulful broth, simmered for over 2 decades, was utterly drowned by this pretentious garbage. Molecular gastronomy? All I saw was a brutal desecration of tradition and an insult to the diner's intelligence. The chef clearly misplaced their creativity, or got lost inside a liquid nitrogen tank. 1 star? For the decently fresh beef slices and the bean sprouts that miraculously escaped contamination. Advice to Mrs. Lin: reclaim your kitchen or Saigon taste will only be remembered for its nauseating foam. The post exploded like a grenade in the local food scene and among regulars. Shares, comments, mockery, lamentations. Saigon taste was suddenly thrust into the spotlight, bathed in infamy. Foot traffic plummeted visibly. Even loyal customers walked in with hesitant, questioning looks. Inside the kitchen, the atmosphere was thick enough to cut with a knife. Lin held her phone, staring at the scathing review for a long time. The screen's glow illuminated her face, etching deep lines of suppressed fury and profound hurt. She didn't look at Mai, she just slammed the phone down hard on the greasy prep counter with a heavy thud. Then she grabbed her cleaver and began chopping a mountain of cilantro and onions with ferocious intensity. The rhythmic thwack, 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 thwav, the blade hitting the board was fast, relentless, pounding against Mai's heart. The Cold War had begun. Lin stopped speaking to Mai except for essential orders, deliberately avoiding eye contact. The kitchen echoed only with the clatter of pots and pans, the bubbling of broth, and a silence so heavy it was suffocating. That silence hurt Mai more than any shouting. Watching her mother's back bend further under the workload, seeing half the tables empty, reading the biting online scorn, regret and shame coiled around her heart like choking vines. Her innovation hadn't brought success. It had nearly destroyed her mother's life's work and pride. Late that night, after finishing the depressing inventory and cleaning, Mai dragged her exhausted body back to her studio apartment. Dismay and self-reproach kept her tossing and turning. At 3 a.m., a strange impulse drove her to sneak downstairs, back to the shop. The alley was silent, lit only by distant streetlights and faint insect sounds. She pulled out her spare key and gently unlocked the back door. The kitchen was pitch black, only the low hum of the refrigerator compressor breaking the quiet. Yet, a sliver of very faint light seeped from under the storage room door, accompanied by a soft rustling sound. Mai's heart leaped into her throat. A burglar? Holding her breath, barefoot, she crept like a cat towards the door, carefully pressing her eye to the crack. The sight made her instantly clamp a hand over her mouth to stifle a gasp. Under the dim glow of the storage room bulb, her mother Lynn sat on a small stool, her back to the door. She wore her faded old apron, her silver hair slightly disheveled. On the small table before her lay Mai's plastic bin of molecular gastronomy tools, the one Mai had shoved into the farthest corner of the storeroom after the bad review, heartbroken and defeated. Lynn was clumsily picking up one of the dropper bottles Mai used for the mango caviar, containing a pale yellow liquid. She frowned, her reading glasses slipping down her nose as she squinted to decipher Mai's English label. She clearly had no idea what these bottles and jars were for. Then her gaze fell on a small open Tupperware container beside it, holding the imperfect remnants of Mai's failed mango caviar, looking a bit dull and misshapen. Lynn reached out a calloused, scarred finger, carefully picked up one tiny orange egg, and held it close to her eyes. She examined it intently, sniffed it, her brow still furrowed. Then she did something that left Mai utterly speechless. She set the egg down, turned, and picked up the small, iconic brown earthenware jar resting by her foot, her secret, never shared recipe nuoc mam cam. She unscrewed the lid, took a clean teaspoon and scooped out a tiny, almost miserly, half-spoonful of the deep amber, intensely fragrant sauce. She hesitated as if conducting a perilous experiment, then carefully, ever so carefully, drizzled those precious few drops of fish sauce evenly over the leftover, rejected mango caviar pearls in the Tupperware. Under the dim light, the deep amber sauce glistened as it coated the orange eggs. Lynn leaned in close, practically holding her breath, observing the union. Then she picked up a toothpick, speared one sauce-coated egg with utmost caution, and slowly brought it to her mouth. She closed her eyes. The muscles in her aged cheeks moved slightly as she chewed slowly, tasting meticulously. The lines on her face deepened into canyons in the low light. Time seemed to freeze. After a few seconds, her eyes snapped open. Gone was the anger and coldness of the day. Instead, they shone with childlike wonder and an unmistakable spark of delight. She even unconsciously smacked her lips, then quickly speared another egg and popped it in. This time she chewed faster, and the corners of her mouth quirked upwards in a tiny, utterly genuine smile. Mai leaned against the cold door frame, her hands still clamped over her trembling lips, her eyes instantly stinging. Her mother's clumsy exploration, those sparing yet precise drops of fish sauce, the pure, childlike surprise and joy that flashed across her face when she tasted the result. It was a tidal wave of warmth, crashing through every cold barrier in Mai's heart. Her steadfast tradition wasn't an impregnable fortress. Her reckless innovation wasn't worthless trash. Between them, all that had been missing were a few drops of communicating fish sauce. The next day at lunchtime, a hand-written, slightly messy but eye-catching sign appeared outside Saigon Taste. Today only, tradition and innovation combo pho. Left side, Mom's classic 12-hour simmered beef bone broth pho. Right side, daughter's special fish sauce drizzle mango caviar pho. One day only. Come taste the difference. Curious regulars and new faces peered in. Uncle Trung was the first to sit down. Give me one of those combos. Let's see if this fish sauce makes the eggs any less weird. Mai stood behind the open kitchen counter, took a deep breath, and glanced at her mother working beside her. Lynn didn't look back, but deftly divided a portion of blanched noodles into a large bowl. One half she piled high with classic toppings and ladled over the steaming, fragrant broth. The other half she left bare. Then she slid the bowl towards Mai, giving a nearly imperceptible nod. Mai's palms were damp. She took the bowl and, using a special spoon, carefully arranged a layer of her overnight, improved mango caviar on the innovation side. She'd used her mother's secret fish sauce base to re-season it. The orange eggs shimmered like scattered jewels against the clear broth. Finally, with pinpoint accuracy, she drizzled over a few drops of the deep amber, sweet, spicy nuoc mam cam Lynn had just handed her. The finishing touch, the bowl was placed before Uncle Trung. One half, steaming, hearty, comforting classic. The other, cool, translucent, dotted with glistening caviar and tantalizing sauce. The stark visual contrast and mingled aromas instantly drew all eyes. Uncle Trung eyed it suspiciously. He first took a big slurp of the classic side. That's the stuff. Solid, he declared, satisfied. Then he hesitated. He scooped up a few sauce-coated eggs with a little broth and put them in his mouth. He chewed. His expression shifted from doubt to stillness, then to a kind of profound relief, his eyes actually brightening. Hey! Well, I'll be. These eggs. Slippery pop. Sweet, sour, savory. With that fish sauce? Perfect! Kid, this works. This really works. He excitedly scooped up another big spoonful, this time mixing classic broth with caviar, eating with noisy relish. The shop instantly buzzed with energy as intrigued diners placed orders. Just then, the door burst open. A young man with a camera bag slung over his shoulder and a baseball cap pulled low rushed in. It was him, the picky palate blogger. He'd clearly seen the sign and sensed the unusual buzz. His face wore a "let's see what train wreck you've cooked up now" expression. Give me one of those combos, he announced loudly, his tone dripping with scrutiny. He already had his phone out, apparently ready to livestream another disaster. Lin and Mai exchanged a glance. Lin's eyes held none of the usual tension or anger. Instead, they were strangely calm, even holding a glimmer of anticipation. She gave Mai a slight nod. Mai took another deep breath, steadying her slightly trembling hands, and began crafting the bowl destined for intense scrutiny. When the bowl of tradition and innovation, fusing decades of heritage with fresh experimentation, half substantial, half ethereal, shimmering under the lights, was set before the picky palate, his critical gaze locked onto it instantly. He leaned in, sniffed. One eyebrow arched slightly. Then he picked up his spoon. He didn't touch the flashy side first. Carefully, he scooped a spoonful of the classic broth, blew on it, and sipped. He closed his eyes for a few seconds, seemingly savoring. His face remained impassive. Next, he turned to the innovation side. He used his spoon to gently nudge the glistening caviar, observing how they held the deep amber sauce. Finally, he scooped up a few eggs, with a bit of the clear broth and put them in his mouth. Time seemed to freeze again. Every eye in the small shop was fixed on his face. Mai felt her heart trying to hammer its way out of her chest. Lin paused in her work, watching quietly. They saw the picky palate's jaw move as he chewed. His eyes flew wide open. It was pure, unadulterated shock, the shock of being hit by deliciousness. He forgot to speak. He quickly scooped up another, much larger spoonful, this time grabbing more caviar and sauce, even mixing in a few strands of classic noodles from the other side. He shoved it into his mouth, chewing vigorously. His expression morphed from astonishment to disbelief, then into something approaching ecstatic satisfaction. He even forgot about his phone, whether the livestream was on or not. He slammed his spoon down, grabbed his phone, and this time, instead of typing, he flipped to the front camera. His face was flushed with excitement, his voice cracking slightly with adrenaline. Guys, livestream. Now, Saigon Taste, they did it. Perfect fusion of tradition and innovation. The classic broth? Still unbeatable. But, this mango caviar, oh my god, smooth, savory, sweet, tangy. But the key, that drizzle of soul sauce, the finishing touch. It instantly anchors the modern lightness back to Saigon's roots. Mind-blowing. This is real fusion, not a gimmick. It's delicious. It's evolution of heritage. I was wrong. I was so wrong last time. This combo pho is worth the trip. 5 stars. No, off the charts recommendation. Go, now. His voice, amplified by the livestream, filled the shop. A small cheer and applause erupted instantly. Lin looked at the animated blogger, then at Mai beside her, whose eyes were brimming with tears of relief and emotion. On Lin's weathered face, A warm, clear, and utterly serene smile slowly bloomed. It held pride. It held acceptance. And it held a silent bond, stronger than any divide.